So just exactly what is a Mason or a Freemason or whatever it is they call themselves? And why do they travel? Why do they want to travel? And when they do, why do they get together and they lock the doors and they put someone outside to guard it? And I don't get what's all the secrets about. The answers to this and a whole lot more coming up right after this. So just exactly what is Freemasonry, you ask? Well, let's see what the internet says, and we know it can't be false at all. It says Masonry or Freemasonry is the oldest fraternity in the world. No one knows just how old it is because the actual origins have been lost in time. Probably it arose from the guilds of stonemasons who built castles and cathedrals, how long ago? In the Middle Ages. Possibly. They were influenced by the Knights Templar, a group of Christian warriors formed monks in 1118. What was that, 1118? To help protect pilgrims making trips from the Holy Land. As a matter of fact, in 1717, Masonry created formal organizations in England. When the first Grand Lodge was formed, a Grand Lodge is an administrative body charged with Masons in some geological areas in the United States. Have I bored you enough yet? I'm not quite finished. I got 2 more sentences. It says there is a Grand Lodge in each state. In Canada, there is a Grand Lodge which is in each province. Local organizations of Masons are called lodges. There are lodges in small towns. Large cities usually have several. There are 13,200 lodges in the United States, approximately. Some get formed, some what we call go dark. Now, what is Masonry? Okay, so let's say a young man wants to get together with others and wants to learn about different things, maybe about himself, maybe become a better man. Well, that's exactly what Masonry is. Masonry is an organization, groups of men get together, and they help each other to become better men. And we do that through allegorical figures and signs and, well, something like that. I mean, there's a lot of traditions within Masonry, and one of the things we do is we get together and we have our reunions or our initiations of our new Masons. We get a new person in and get them started, and our prerequisites are vary from state to state. Ours in the state of Georgia is you must have known that person at least 1 year. Don't have to be related to them, but you have to know them for at least 1 year before you can sign their petition to be a member. So you get a first-line signer and a second-line signer to sign that petition. And on that petition, it asks several questions. And basically, what we do is we take that petition and we try to find out more about that guy, and we basically want to find out where he works, and we might send an investigation committee. Someone that wasn't his first or second-line signer, what they'll do is they'll go and investigate the person. They'll meet the person at home, maybe talk to people he works with, maybe his church or wherever he tends to spend his time at. So once they do that, they come back to the lodge and say, yeah, this guy's a good guy, or nope, we don't want him. So then it's a decision for the lodge to actually vote on it, and it's an individual vote. And it must be unanimous. It must be very unanimous for the person to be accepted into the fold of that particular Blue Lodge. And a Blue Lodge is basically any particular lodge wherever it's located. There's some lodges that are named after cities, some are named after famous people, some are named after jurisdictions, some are named after past members who did a lot of work in that lodge, and they might rename the lodge after that person. So the names of the lodges vary. Some lodges, actually a lodge I went to recently, which I may be showing you some pictures of next, was actually named after the city that it was in, and then in the 50s, the city changed names. But the lodge itself never changed its name. So it's still known by a particular name, but yet the city that it's in has a totally different name. There's no commonality at all between the two. So they get together. So they bring the person in, and then they become an entered apprentice. And everything that I'm telling you, you could find on the internet, but I'm kind of giving it to you in a synopsis and basically what I've learned firsthand. So the person comes in and they get initiated. They then go through get an instructor, and that instructor takes them through what we know about Masonry. It talks a little bit about the initiation process and what just happened through the initiation process, so the person can really understand it. Because just like anything else, the first time you go someplace and you see it, you haven't really absorbed everything that you could possibly get out of it. So it's nice to have an instructor afterwards come to you and say, well, this is what happened and this is why. It gives you symbolisms and lets you apply some of the things that happened to your own life. So after that, you will then essentially be tested. Once you pass that first test, you'll be I guess go to the next level, which is the fellowcraft. The fellowcraft will at that time then basically do the same kind of thing. It's the next level of instruction, and then you'll get tested again, and then you become a master mason. Now all this can take, gosh, anywhere between 2 months and I'd say 6 months on the average for all three of those. The first one is normally the hardest. And the reason is a lot of masons, what they do is, and what they learn is in a different language. And I say a different language, but I don't mean like a language like French or German, but it's like they're reading the King James Version of the Bible. Now, is it still English? Absolutely. Is it the way we talk today? No, it is not. So it is that kind of vernacular that's a little bit different in Masonry. Masonry's got its own terms and gestures and things that we do, and that you learn through the initiation process, much of which you can, again, find online. I'm not going to tell you about it, ain't none of my business. You ain't going to hear it from me. But what it is you can find some of that stuff online, but I will say this. Every state's a little bit different. Most states practice a certain guidelines, I will say, and rules. So if you go to my county and you travel to another county, 3 counties over, the verbiage is going to be the same. The way they open lodge, the way they conduct business is going to be basically the same. But yet you go and cross the border into another state, and the verbiage is going to be a lot different. I say a lot different, probably 20% different, maybe 30% different. You'll recognize everything, but it's definitely going to be different. So once you become a master mason, what's that give you? It gives you a dues card. Dues card means I'm going to pay dues to that lodge every year, just like any other fraternity would do. And one of the things we say, what does Masonry allow you to do? It allows you to travel in foreign countries. So if I traveled, how are they going to know that I'm a member in good standing? 2 ways. First thing they do is they ask for your dues card. They take your dues card and then they look at their books and they see if your lodge is a reputable lodge, because not all lodges are reputable in all states. Some states don't recognize other lodges. There's lodges here in my home state that we don't recognize every lodge in the state, but we do recognize most. And other lodges, we call them clandestine lodges. We haven't come to terms on practices and that sort of thing. So, but anyway, to each his own. Every state's a little different. There's an organization called Prince Hall. We don't typically recognize some Prince Halls. Prince Hall don't typically recognize us, but we may in some other states. Again, that's why we have the book to keep it straight. So that particular lodge will check the book and make sure your lodge is in that book. They'll check your dues card and make sure it's valid, it's current. You can't have an old dues card. So they'll make sure it's current, and then the next thing they do is they quiz you. What? They quiz you? Yes, I said that right. They quiz you. So basically what they'll do is they'll ask you a few questions. Things like different things. I don't know, maybe a Tyler's oath or something like that, or the duties of the senior steward, or the duties of the junior warden. So all of this you should have learned through the first 3 degrees. The Errand Apprentice, the Fellowcraft, and the Master Mason. You should learn all that. So if you're a Mason in good standing, you'll be able to get that off the top of your head. You don't have to pick up your phone and look it up. I think that answer is no. Sorry. If you've been out of touch for too long, then you don't want to go into a lodge and say you haven't been a Mason in 5 years. 1, your dues card is going to be expired. 2, you're going to forget a whole lot, and you've got to prove yourself to that lodge that you've never sat in that you are a Mason. Now, locally, when you travel, you'll travel different lodges, and you begin to know people. So me personally, I can go into about 9 lodges, well, probably a little more than that, that I'll probably know somebody in, even from the other states. I've met them in other organizations within Masonry, like Shriners and Scottish Rite in York. So I met them, and I know these people. They know that I'm a Mason. They know that I've done the work, and they also know I'm a past master of a lodge. Now, what is that? That's like the president of the local lodge is what it is. And it's a pretty close-knit group in a sense that not everybody becomes a past master. Not everybody becomes a master, because not everybody becomes an officer in the organization. Much like any other organization you joined, it's a nonprofit. It's a volunteer organization like VFW, the Rotary, any of those types of organizations. They have officers, and not everybody's an officer. Therefore, not everybody's a past president. And we hold our or past masters or past presidents in high esteem. And it's something that you strive for and achieve for. Typically, you're not going to become a master of a lodge. I think the earliest I've ever heard is like 3 years. It'll take you to do that. It's pretty common to be 5 years. I think I got it my 4th year. I became a master of a lodge. And then the very next year, I became a master in a second lodge that I was an affiliate member in. So I actually joined that other lodge. So you could be members of more than one lodge in a particular state, in most states. In fact, all states that I know of. But again, once you cross borders and you go to other states, they might have some different rules and regulations as far as what they do, as far as what you can and can't do, and how you can affiliate with other lodges. Now, again, all those lodges you affiliate with need to be in that book I spoke of. So here you are, you're traveling and you're learning these things, and you might help them out with degree work, which is new members coming into the fold, and so you might help them with their initiation process. They might have degree night or something like that, and but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see different people do different lectures. Lectures, yes, we have lots of set lectures that you can find online. Some of our entered apprentice, maybe like the Northeast Corner, there may be a Bible lecture. There may be one on the wearing of the apron, because as you know, all Masons wear those aprons, and each apron's got the way it's worn has this different significance in it. So, but you do those lectures, and for example, the apron lecture, which is pretty much you can find that one online also. The apron lecture is a really neat lecture, and it's practiced by most states. Most states you'll find someone in that state, in those lodge, in every lodge, will do an apron lecture. But it's neat to see a different person do an apron lecture, because although we do try to do the words exactly, we memorize it. 70 years ago, our fathers brought forth in this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty. Those are exact words. So you want to do the exact words. We try to do that. Now, I will say this. The apron lecture is a great example because there's more than one version floating around. There's probably 3 versions just here in my state. There might be more in other states. Now, the information that's passed through the apron lecture is pretty much the same. It's like 80%, 70% the exact same. So what you read online, you might say, hey, this is the apron lecture. Well, it is one apron lecture. And then, of course, there's other lectures, as I mentioned, Northeast Corner that you do. And there's lots of different ones that you do within each degree work. So it's a lot of fun. So you get together. Essentially, what you're doing here is you're spending time with your brothers. You're spending time with a closed door that not just anybody can walk into. You're spending time with your brothers, and you're engaged in meeting each other, and it's just really spending quality time with it through the degree work. So you get to know each other a lot. Oh, I must have said something I didn't mean. Oh, police officer went by. So anyway, so what we'll do is that's pretty much what we're talking about when we're talking about masonry. And I may show you some pictures of lodges. There's lots of lodges. Again, we're open to the public. What are the big secrets? Well, we're not exactly a secret organization if you got a sign outside that says, this is where we meet. Not real secret then, is it? But I will say this, most any fraternity or sorority, not anyone can just walk in, whether they're from a college or not from a college. You can't just walk in off the streets and sit in on their regular meetings. Now, maybe on their open meetings, different meetings that they might allow others in, wives, in our case, we'll let our wives and children come to different get-togethers, and we might be doing different ceremonies. Our installations is one of those, where we will install our new officers. We do have a closed portion of the meeting, say 15, 20 minutes, and then we open it up to everyone to come see us, have them swear in, their oath of office, much like a president or anybody else in a legislative body would do. They swear into office. Now, do you have to be a Christian? No. Do you have to believe in Jesus? Well, I just said you don't have to be a Christian, so no. Do you have to believe in a higher power? Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Our door that we lock, basically we say we don't want any agnostics and we don't want any atheists, because we feel that's really important. And we feel if you get that part of your life correct, you'll be on the straight and narrow and you'll be able to see eye to eye. It's kind of hard to put your hand on a Bible and swear an oath. Who are you swearing to? Anybody? Well, who are you swearing to if you don't believe in a higher power or believe in any kind of God? Well, when we do that, when we take our oath of office in Masonry, you need to believe in a higher power. So that's basically our prerequisite. And we do that through the application process. We ask you that right on the application. If it says no, then this organization isn't for you. We are not a religious organization. Let me say that. But we do believe in a higher power. We do believe in a higher power. So, and the last thing we want to do is offend anybody when we do that, because when we have our open meetings, guess what? We open with prayer. Interesting. And when we close our meetings, we end with, you guessed it, prayer. But we're still not a religious organization. We don't attest to any particular religion at all. We do give leeway to whatever the predominant religion is in that area, and most states are that way. Not all. I can't say all because I haven't been to all states. I haven't been to meetings in all states. Every state's going to vary a little bit. But well, that's 15 minutes worth of what Masonry is, and be sure to check out some more videos I got coming in the future. They're going to be talking about different lodges. I'm going to show you pictures of lodges and how they differ from one another. I've got some really nice pillars and different things. Just the furniture alone is really neat. The altar that they have in the middle of a lodge is different in every lodge. Much of them are homemade. They're one of a kind. They're really nice. The outside of the buildings, I'm a fan of architecture anyway, but it's really neat. I hope that shed some light. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and also click that little bell to ring on this video so that you can see exactly if I come across any new information. I'm going to be posting it and making videos just like this one here, so you can be informed of what's going on in Masonry and the different things that it does. If I can think of anything that I might have missed, I might just do an amendment to this video. So you take care.